Welcome into Turnkey on Queen City News Plus, your go-to show for everything real estate in the Carolinas. We talk about the do's and don'ts in the industry, market trends, and expert advice on navigating this dynamic landscape that we call home. I am your host, Morgan Francis. At the end of the day, what matters is that you have a roof over your head, but how do you keep it that way? How do you know that your roof is in good working order? Well, we have the guys from Integrity Roofing with us, Jeremy Mock, Austin Schneider, and Daniel. Daniel's shy, so he's not gonna join us on today's show. But we still had to pop him up on camera and give him a little shout out there. So, guys, welcome. Thanks so much for coming on Turnkey.
Yeah, thank you, Morgan.
Thank you, guys.
So, what goes into making sure that a roof is in good working order? Is it something that I can just set it and forget it because they tell me that my roof is supposed to last for like 20 plus years or something?
Absolutely not.
No.
So it's, regular inspections, especially after like storms, things like that. We find a lot of people like buying and selling houses, run into the home inspectors say, oh, you got another 10 years or another 5 years or something, when really it should have been replaced 5 or 10 years ago.
So why do they say that?
I honestly don't know. So
Trying to save you the headache of getting your roof replaced right away?
yeah, I think having a qualified roofer come out and actually get a look at it prior is definitely a good idea, but not very many people do that.
So I'm sure you run into your fair share of issues when you do take a look at a roof. What would be a sign that the roof is either completely failing, or I'm assuming you can do some patchwork, like you can extend the life of the roof. What are some of the signs that people should pay attention to?
It's a good question. A lot of times you're going to see the granules come off. With the asphalt roof, it just happens over time. As it ages, it starts to break down. It'll shed a lot of granules. Your fiberglass mat that's in the shingle will start to be exposed. So you'll drive by your house one day and it'll just look like there's glass all over your roof. That's a sign that, hey, that fiberglass mat's starting to expose out, meaning the shingle's getting to a point where it needs to be replaced or it's getting wore out. Also, you get your algae streaks. Usually you see them on the north side. That's very common at first. Over time, once you get past that 10, 15, 20-year mark, you'll start to see it on multiple slopes facing in different directions. That's telling you that the roof's starting to break down as well, and it needs to be inspected.
And we're talking about what looks like would be almost like a rainy day on your roof. Like you start to see the difference in the color. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, you see the black. It kind of looks like it looks like waves sometimes.
Yes,
or it's just streaking all over it. That's exactly, yeah. If you start seeing that on multiple sides of your home, that's just meaning that the roof's starting to get to that point where it needs to be inspected.
Okay.
Yearly inspections are always what we preach, especially when you first buy a home. I know we were just talking about that, but a lot of home inspectors, they don't actually get on roofs. Crazy story, Daniel's brother bought a house. Home inspector said that they just got to look out for this minor issue. But to a roofer, it's a major issue. You got your pipe boots. Supposed to be a boot around it. But the way this roof was done, the pipe actually just goes right through the ridge vent. So you can see people's went up there and caulked it for years. But obviously water's getting in, and a home inspector's like, just keep an eye on it. But really, that's something that needs to be addressed. That's going to cause issues.
Okay, so on that point, I'm going to skip ahead to a question that I wrote down here. And this does not come from anyone in particular inside this building, but may have been a question that someone asked me. If, for instance, someone had a pinhole leak with the vent coming out of the roof, is that something that they need to call a roofer for? Or because it seems minor, or can they get like a repairman to do it? I know you guys are in the roofing industry and you're going to say call us, but is that something that they need to call a roofing company to come and do, or is that like an easy fix? Like a pinhole leak, just a small one.
Yeah, honestly, that could be an easy fix. Honestly, I always suggest fixing things for the long run. So get it done right.
Do it right. Yeah.
Yeah, that way you don't have to worry about it because, a small little repair or putting some caulk on it, something like that. I mean, it could rear its ugly head again in a few years, something like that. Now you might have a bigger issue. So, yeah, I always suggest doing it right the first time.
Now you're speaking my language. I'm the same way, but you have people who are like, well, I can kick this can down the road and worry about the big expense later, which that's another way to think about it too. But I'm on your side with that. We're taking a look at some of the potential issues that you could see with a roof. I mean, this is on the inside of the home, right? So I would think a lot of houses have these types of signs of damage, but what could some of these mean, especially those watermarks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those is, especially when you first get a leak when it's coming on a roof, it takes, the water's got to go through the decking. It's got to go through all that insulation, and then eventually it gets on the ceiling. So once you start seeing it inside, it's usually a bigger problem than what it looks to be, even if it's a small spot. Because it's got so many things it's got to go through just to get to that drywall right there. So at that point, you definitely want to get a roofer out there to take a look at it, see how far it's extended out. We've seen some that could be the smallest spots in the world, and then you get up there and the decking's rotted out, that's starting to sag, starting to bow. Where somebody, if you get a handyman or you try to go up there and fix it yourself, you don't really know what you're looking at. You don't go in the attic first, you could potentially fall through it.
Okay.
It's got to be very thorough when it comes to that stuff. Because it could be the smallest leak, it could be the biggest leak, but they all cause damage.
On the real estate side of things, I see a lot of these watermarks throughout homes. And sometimes you'll hear from the seller, well, we repaired that. It's just that on the ceiling was there before the repair, but it's repaired now. It's all good. Do you guys buy that? Or you're smiling, Austin. Why are you smiling?
I've done a couple houses here in Charlotte where homeowners, they've called us out to come look at the roof. I did a friend just bought a home or whatever a couple months ago. And I guess it's just this, they said they fixed this leak. The roof was replaced. They replaced it when I bought it. And you go up there and it's just a couple patches that were done.
Okay.
Or it wasn't fully disclosed. Hey, it wasn't fully replaced. It was just patched. And you don't even know who did the patch. You don't know if it was a roofing contractor that did it, if it was a handyman. A lot of times they'll miss the leak entirely. They'll go and repair the wrong spot. Homeowner selling it's like, oh, great. I got it patched, sell it, and then now that's a burden on the next homeowner. We see it a lot.
Okay. So you got to get maybe the actual work order and see what work was done specifically and kind of fact check to make sure it was done right.
Correct. Yeah. And if as a buyer, I would always tell homeowners that are looking to buy a house, have a roofer come look at it. It's great with a home inspector and getting a home inspection and taking what the seller has. That's always great. But having your own inspection, your own photos, a licensed roofing contractor that's going to tell you what they're seeing, always is the best way to go.
All right. A lot of great info, guys. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what you can do right now to extend the life of your roof. More Turnkey after this. All right, welcome back to Turnkey on Queen City News Plus. We've been talking about roofing and how to make sure that you can extend the lifetime of your roof. We're joined by the guys from Integrity Roofing and Daniel, who is the shy one, but we have Austin and Jeremy who have been helping us kind of talk through some of this stuff. Guys, what can people do to extend the life of their roof when they look at it and they see those, Austin, as you were talking about earlier, those kind of markings that show that it's getting old? Is there anything that people at home can do to try to give it a couple more years?
First off, they can contact us.
Okay.
That's the first thing.
Smart man.
There you
go. Honestly, yeah. So getting yearly inspections, like Austin said a few minutes ago, that's definitely a good thing. Removing any debris off your roof. So our maintenance packages, we come out, we remove any debris off the roof. Some people, they don't get up there. That debris will build up in their valleys, maybe in a dead valley or something, and it ends up that water builds up and it's going to infiltrate somehow. It's going to go somewhere. That usually causes a leak. Making sure your gutters are cleaned out. That's usually a huge.
People don't do that. And especially in the Carolinas too, where we have all the pine straw.
Yes.
Those help me out with the
Pine needles.
Well, pine needles, but what's the gutter guards?
Yeah. Yep.
They don't work. I mean,
Well,
the ones that have the holes in them, the pine needles stick right in them.
Some of them, like we offer a gutter guard RX, which is good for light debris, things like that. But when you get into pine needles, you definitely need either a hood or we have a
Leaf blaster.
Yeah, leaf blaster. It's a stainless steel. It's got like real fine mesh on it, and almost nothing's getting through that. So it definitely protects from the pine needles.
Okay, so pine needles are one issue, obviously, in the Carolinas, but we also have a lot of varying weather events, but a lot of times hail.
Yeah,
and I think actually we have. I think we have a slide showing some of the hail damage. I'll try to see if I can get it up at some point. It might be slide 2, actually. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
That's hail damage?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when someone...
that's a good shot.
That's all those dots are hail damage?
Yeah, those black dots.
Okay. So if someone wanted to, for instance, if they had like a drone, they could probably fly it up there and see if they've at least got the dots to see if they want to call someone over to take another closer look at it. But these are some of the issues that you can get from the weather events that we have. How do people handle hail issues with their roof?
Well, I think first is identifying. So, getting a contractor out there, getting Integrity Roofing out there to do an inspection is definitely a good thing because most homeowners don't know what they're looking at. They might be able to see, hey, I got a shingle that's blown off, right? Or I've been finding them in the yard. Some houses are so tall you really can't see up there, and you got to physically get up there to identify.
Which you don't want to do that. The last thing you want is to fall off a ladder, and then you've got a whole nother issue you got to deal with
Correct.
medically. But I've always heard if you have a hailstorm go through, have your roof checked because if there's an issue, you can get a brand new roof through insurance. Is it as easy as it sounds?
Yeah, in some cases, yeah. Every carrier is different. They all have different requirements when looking at hail damage. A lot of times it's hail damage hits a roof, but also hits other things. Like I think one of the slides, like we have the vents here, siding, the gutters. It all tells a story. It's these insurance companies, they send out a third-party inspector most of the time.
Okay.
So they're relying on a guy with a photo camera to go out there, take some good photos, and make a judgment call. So having a roofer on your side that's inspected the property, that's got photos, that's got a weather report, highlighted all these other issues with the gutters, the downspouts, the siding, vents, anything that's got dents in it, just helps build the case. A lot of times it goes great. It's a very smooth process. Other times insurance companies will argue age, they'll argue granule loss, and then at that point, that's where we...
Well, at the end of the day, they don't exactly want to pay for a new roof, so it's in their best interest to find a reason to say no.
Well, I mean, we've definitely ran into plenty that want to help the homeowner out, right? And so we definitely love working with that. But yeah, a lot of times it is an uphill battle, and it's always great to have a roofer out there to advocate for you. So, like I said, most homeowners aren't getting on their roof. Even if they did, they don't really know what they're looking at. So having a qualified professional out there to help guide and steer that process and advocate for you is definitely a good idea.
I want to go back to a picture that we've seen a few times come through, and I'm going to pull it up full screen here. It says broken fibers and broken, help me out, is that matting?
Matting.
What does that mean? What are we looking at here?
So a hail impact, right? So the hail falls when it hits that shingle. If it's big enough, what it does is it cracks the matting of the shingle, and it'll start busting the fibers. So in essence, you get thousands or millions of those on your roof. Then what it does is it messes up the water flow on your roof. So the shingles are meant to shed water a certain way. When you start getting all these divots and broken matting, like broken matting, water can seep through that.
Mm-hmm.
So you start getting all that stuff, it starts breaking the shingle down prematurely. And so, a 30-year roof that was supposed to last, 30-year roof that's supposed to last 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
essentially, you start getting all the hail dings and it's all your matting cracked. It makes that shingle break down prematurely.
So how close is this picture taken? Are you guys right on top of it? Because it looks like it's almost zoomed in.
That's what the microscope.
Yes.
Okay. I was gonna say there's no way anyone could see this.
Exactly. This is,
It was like a cobweb.
Yeah.
it's hard to see, and that's like what we're talking about. Sometimes it's not as easy with the insurance company. So that claim, for example, is a carrier was not wanting to agree that it was hail damage. They were wanting to agree that it's aging and the roof just wore out. So we'll take a microscope. We'll go to each hit, and we got to show them, hey, no, this mat's broke. Something caused this damage.
Oh, interesting. So that is a specific sign right there that is hail damage that can be caused by, just age.
Correct.
Right.
Oh, interesting. Yep. Okay. Well, we're going to take one more quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the question that I'm sure all of you are asking is how much is this going to cost me and how long is it going to take before I can get a new roof? We'll be right back. Welcome back to Turnkey on Queen City News Plus. We are joined by Jeremy and Austin with Integrity Roofing, who have been educating us on how to extend the life of your roof and also some of the issues that you might run into when some storms hit. Jeremy, we've talked a lot about hail damage and how you guys spot that under a microscope, which is very interesting. I never knew that. See, I learned something new every time we do this show. This is great. But when it comes to filing with insurance, do you guys help with that? How does that process start, and how do you get to the point that okay, the roof is covered, let's go do the work?
So obviously after a storm, homeowner calls, we go out, we do an inspection. We deem it a loss. We're definitely seeing plenty of damage. We've built our story, so at that point we can either file online, we call their carrier. File the claim. Usually 24 to 48 hours, the adjuster will get back to them and then set up a day and time to meet on site. And like Austin mentioned earlier, it's usually with a third party. So we'll meet them out there. And again, we get up there, we advocate for the homeowner. We point out the damage. All goes well. They end up paying for the roof. At that point, then, we come on the back, we're picking out shingles. Any supplementing, because sometimes what the insurance does, they'll just throw a number at you, right? They'll write an estimate, they'll throw it at you, but they end up leaving off, say, gutters, or this was actually a 40-year shingle that it gauged at, not a 30-year shingle, right? So we catch all these things, we send in our supplement, we get all these things paid for. So at the end of the day, the homeowner basically picks out a shingle. You obviously have to cover your deductible, but at the end of the day, the insurance, they cover everything else. So I always say you're getting 99% of your roof paid for, and you cover your deductible, pick out a shingle, and you're getting a new roof. So
you mentioned doing the gutters at the same time as the roof. What percentage of jobs do you feel like you're doing a full roof replacement and you also do the gutters? Is that pretty common?
It can be, yeah. A lot of times if it is an insurance job, if it's hail related, a lot of times if the roof's damaged by hail, the gutters are damaged by hail. So we'll go ahead and replace the gutters on those as well. Circumstances where it's just a homeowner wanting to buy a roof, it's common, not a lot. If the gutters, the way the new construction is and a lot of these houses are built now, the gutters are actually pretty good for a long period of time. They used to be installed with nails instead of screws. So those old gutters, if we run into that with a roof replacement, those nails start to back out.
You can just pop them right off.
Yeah, you can literally
come on quick.
They're usually coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's when, we'll recommend it. We'll recommend a full gutter replacement as well.
Different types of shingles out there. Does it matter?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, different brands, different types. We use Turnkey. We believe that that's the best shingle that you can offer to a homeowner. There's different brands like GAF, Owens Corning, all great products, but with Turnkey, we actually have to be certified to install it through them. And everything's built here in Oxford with Turnkey. They got a plant The shingles are made here.
Yeah.
They're about to open a fiberglass mat, so they're going to start making their own fiberglass mat. Really good product, and they offer a variety. So you start with your 30-year architectural, goes up to a 40-year, so it's a little thicker. And then you start getting into your designer shingles, like your presidential shake. It looks like a shake roof, but it's a
Presidential shake. It's got such a
It's got a cool name.
yeah, such a cool name.
They
It
got all
sounds
kinds-
expensive.
Yeah. And
which
it is.
which brings me to my next point. And I know it depends on the size of the home and what
Yes.
kind of shingles they're picking, but what can someone expect for a cost of a full roof replacement?
I mean, I'd say your average, 30 square home. I mean, probably anywhere from between 10 and 20,000.
Okay.
So they say like the average cost these days is like $10,000. So, which I'm sure that's gone up the past couple of years. You're probably looking at an average, I'd say around 12,000.
And what always impresses me about these jobs is how quickly you guys move, particularly on a roof, I might add.
Yeah.
But the jobs don't take as long as people might think.
Right. They don't. So a lot of people are like, they always ask us that, right? How long do you think this is going to take? Well, depending on the shingle, the size of the house, I mean, most homes we can have done in 1 to 2 days. So this time of year when it's, it's been super hot, so we got to take a little longer break in the afternoons. But
That shouldn't be allowed. Should not. No breaks allowed.
yeah,
Do they pay you by the hour?
they do get paid by the hour.
No, rightfully so. I mean, shoot, it's been like 90
Yeah, it was
mid 90s.
well, when you're on the roof, so it was like
Hotter.
100 yesterday, so it's probably 130, 140 up there.
Wow.
Very hot.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, 1 to 2 days.
That's quick.
Yeah, and definitely. So this time of year, it gets dark at 9:30. So, I mean, we can definitely work later. Not everybody wants people on their roof working that late,
Mhm.
but for the most part, when we get to the evening, the roof itself is pretty much buttoned up. We're just doing the extra cleanup and getting everything like that together. So,
Well, and it could be a messy job too. So if someone wants to just get it done, it's just like whatever you have to do. Just go for it. Have a little bit of extra time, so I wanted to ask you, what about snakes? Have you guys
Ooh, I got some
the real
snakes.
question that everyone wants answered, right? But I mean, have you run into, because snakes get in people's attics and
Yes.
stuff? I would imagine that that would be the most frequent critter that you would run into. But enlighten me, what kind of wildlife do you?
Squirrels,
Oh yeah,
flying squirrels.
flying squirrels.
Yes.
Bats.
I'm
Bats.
imagining some sort of like mid-air encounter with Jeremy and a squirrel with a flying squirrel.
Well, those little boogers,
Sort of.
yeah, they fly from treetop to treetop and stop on a roof here and there like Santa.
Ah,
Yeah, squirrels can do some damage, and they'll get in there. They might build a nest up in the attic, really cause a lot of damage. I've seen that. So I've seen people put box traps in their attics and catch the squirrels and haul them off. I have definitely been in my fair share of attics. I've seen snake skins. I have not actually seen a snake, but as soon as I see that, I'm
You're
not
out.
I'm not willing to walk around in there.
yeah.
I've done a couple looking for leaks. One I was in Hickory and I went through the attic door and there was a pipe boot right
Mhm.
there. That's where the leak was coming from, thank God, because there was snake skins everywhere and holes in and out.
Did the homeowners know?
I let them know.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, you've got, and surprisingly, a lot of them laugh. They're like, oh yeah, we've had that problem for years.
Snakes.
Snakes
Yeah.
in your house.
Yeah.
No.
Not a
I would
big
imagine
issue
the
to know.
snakes on a plane is worse, but
or a train, isn't it? I think that was one of my.
snakes in your car. But yeah, it's wild. Yeah, we've definitely seen some stuff. So yeah, I've seen some dead animals up in attics before
Mhm.
too.
Austin, you have any wild encounters?
Bats. That's the craziest thing I've
You've
seen.
never been bitten by a bat.
No.
Okay.
No, we was in Lenore and the homeowner didn't realize it had bats because you could put these cage meshes in the ridge vent to keep them from coming in. So
Okay.
we get up there, start crawling around. I just look up and we just see a couple of them just sitting there. I was like, "Yep, I'm getting out." Fix the leak, but yeah, we got out and they had to come. And I believe at that time the craziest thing was that you couldn't move them at that
No.
time of the year. It's a certain time of the
Yeah.
year that you can get them out and move them out.
Like legally, you're not allowed?
Yes.
Legally, you're not. You'll get a fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I didn't
Okay.
know that. The homeowner didn't.
Not
know
that you were trying to pick up a bat, but still.
Yeah, I told him. He called me back. He's like, "Yeah, we got to wait a couple months. They're just gonna hang out up there." I was like, "Ah, well,
Yeah.
I'm not going."
Yeah, you do, especially like when they're in the gables and stuff too. You have to
Mhm.
wait, and they get a lot in chimneys, like old
Mhm.
chimneys.
Yeah, I would
that people
imagine.
aren't using. Yeah, they'll be in there. So
Light a
think
fire.
this isn't
Great.
rooftop or attic, but I was on a roof in Lenore one
Mhm.
time, and I look out into this man's yard, and there is a wolf, a timber wolf that this guy bought at a flea market. And I was like, tiny little Asian man. I
Mhm.
said, "Is that a wolf?" And he's like, "Yeah, I bought it at the flea market." And it was literally a wolf that, came almost up to my shoulders. He had it chained to a tree. I couldn't believe it, but I've never seen anything like that. I'm like, a real wolf. So
Wow.
yes, wow, that's what I said.
Really interesting pet.
Yes.
I don't know. I think I would take the snakes.
I'd probably take a snake, right? Yeah.
At least you can keep a snake in a cage and
Yeah.
toss a mouse in every once.
Oh, God. Well, guys, this has been enlightening. All the issues that you deal with and making sure that people have a roof over their head. So I really appreciate you coming on Turnkey. I think it was very educational for me on multiple different levels. So I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you very
guys.
much for
Yeah.
having us.
Come back anytime.
Yeah.
And to everyone else everyone else out there, thank you so much for watching Turnkey on Queen City News Plus. Everyone say bye to Daniel. Thank you so much.
Bye, Dan.
We'll see you next time.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.